Thank you for joining XROM, which is India's first AR/VR podcast. And today I'm really glad to have Mr. Nicola Rosa, who is an innovation strategist, experience designer, and a digital transformation expert who has previously worked for companies such as Google, Spotify, IBM, Yahoo, and Atari. Currently, he's the XR lead Europe and immersive learning lead at Accenture. He's also the director at AIXR, which is the Academy of International Extended Reality, a media company producing the annual Virtual Reality Awards. And he's also the chairman of BIMA, which is British Interactive Media Association, Council for Immersive Technologies, where he helps to define best practices, use cases, and advantages of using XR for digital agencies in the UK. So, Nick, it's a pleasure and honor to have you on the show. So, you know what? I have a background in creative. I have played for a rock band for 20 plus years. I have a studio where I produce content for advertising agencies, production, and stuff like that. So my career was going okay. I was producing great work for the advertising agency production house, was getting paid well. I've composed for a couple of Bollywood feature films. Life was good, and I thought that was it. Music was something which would be the thing for me, and I would not divert. 2015 happened. One of my clients from Samsung and another company from movie came over here and said, "Eddie, we've got some cool work for you. There's this new technology called virtual reality, and we want to capture luxury resorts all around India in virtual reality in stereoscopic. Would you be able to do it?" It sounded exciting because besides exciting, what I meant by exciting, he said that it would be economically very exciting. So without understanding what it was, I jumped into it. And from 2015 till now, it's been a journey which has really been highs and lows, where I have let go of my past completely. I've dropped my music career and got into virtual reality completely because I believe that it's the future. I believe that it's the tool which is going to create transformation which is not even fathomable at this point in time. I believe that it can paint, redesign our reality. What does virtual reality mean to you? And why did you choose immersive tech as a career choice?
So, first of all, thank you so much, Amy, for having me on your podcast. This is great, and it's my first time on an Indian podcast, so it's a first. So I'm very excited and very happy to be here. Virtual reality for me, I started being interested in virtual reality when I was very young. My first virtual reality headset has been VFX1 from Forte Technologies, and as most of the oldest people in your audience would know, this headset has been released in the mid-end of the 90s, and was an headset that was using a VESA connector on my Cirrus Logic 2D card, and was mind-blowing for that time. I remember that I saved most of my money from my summer jobs in order to buy it. My father wasn't very happy that I was blowing away so much money for a piece of hardware, but I was a gamer since then, and I still am a gamer even now. And virtual reality for me is a promise of a door to a digital world. It's interesting because a lot of people think about extended reality, XR. I lead the extended reality team in Accenture Europe, and a lot of people think about extended reality as AR and VR. Okay, but AI and VR are basically mediums. Media, because it's plural. So what it means is that they're a door to information. What it really means to me is a portal to get digital content into the real world, and a portal for me to get into the digital world. And this is fascinating because from one point of view, we can have an augmentation of our lives that is already augmented through normal 2D screens of our phone in a more meaningful and impactful and rich way, and less intrusive in some way. Even if a lot of people think that eventually glasses will bring persistent digital information in front of our field of view, I mean, you can always switch it off. But the good thing is that you don't have this attention switch of always looking at your phone all the time. That is very annoying, especially if you're with your friends. Seeing people that are looking at their phone while you're talking to them is not exactly great. And I believe, I mean, this is going to be one of the big transformation that are going to happen in the next 4 or 5 years. And the most exciting thing for me is instead the complete creation of virtual worlds and the fruition of virtual worlds through virtual reality. The possibility of allowing people that before were not allowed to, for example, experience how it was being on zero gravity on the ISS, now they can do that. And it's exactly the same kind of impact that we seen at the beginning of the television era. At the beginning of the television era, when we were watching documentaries about exotic places like the Galapagos, those places have been unseen for hundreds of millions of years to most of people. But now, suddenly, with the television, are basically in everyone's living room. And the same thing is going to happen with the virtual reality, but on an experiential way. So you're not going to be able just to see the place and the space and the environment on a 2D screen, but it's going to be a true experience. You're going to be able to experience being there as a physical person, remember spatial memory and so on. And that's extremely exciting for me.
You mentioned that it's like a portal to get into the digital world. It is becoming a reality. We are already building worlds and we're breaking away from the 2D world, the world which has been restricted us for over 100 years, or flat medium, which has been passive. Now it's going beyond. We will be stepping into the storytelling medium. Besides that, there are layers such as non-fungible tokens and things like that, which is giving you the opportunity to monetize the virtual world. Who would have thought that $69 million somebody would have paid for a digital art piece? But these walls are being broken, and that's getting more and more exciting. So obviously VR has evolved over the years. Would you like to talk to my audience the evolution of virtual reality from where it started, where it is right now, and where do you think it's going to be in the next couple of decades?
Well, I had the pleasure of having a conversation with Tom Furness, that, as many of you will know, is the godfather of virtual reality. Actually, we're going to have a podcast with our Field of View podcast that is going every 2 weeks on the AIXR YouTube channel, the Academy of International Extended Reality YouTube channel. So one of the next episodes is going to be with him. And the conversation that I had with Tom was extremely exciting about the pioneering era of virtual reality. All the initial money that arrived obviously from the Department of Defense and research and HUD for fighter pilots. And now we arrived at the 2 billion contracts, the 20 billion contracts, 20 billion with Microsoft HoloLens. So, I mean, the extended reality came a long way. I remember the first time I put my headset on when I was 17, and I was mind blown. And I was mind blown from having literally 3 degrees of freedom headset with a field of view that was probably no bigger than 50 degrees, 60 degrees. It was very small. A little square with a resolution of about 280 by 360. It was a very, very low resolution. And I've been blown away. I was 17 and I always believed and I always thought that this could be the future of entertainment, but also experiential learning and so on. Right now, obviously, many evolution cycles in terms of technology passed since then. Palmer Luckey has been absolutely fundamental for the explosion of the technology, along, of course, with John Carmack, that provided the software engineering services in order to make the ecosystems bootstrap and work. Valve has been a big believer, and obviously with the launch even of Half-Life Alyx, created a big bang in the sense of believers that before were not sure and certain about the validity of the medium as an entertainment vehicle, right now, after I believe Half-Life Alyx, nobody has any doubt that it can be extremely entertaining and something that can be meaningful. Now, talking about use cases for the enterprise, in the last I would say 3 years, we had a constant growth rate of more than 170% within Accenture. So the business is booming, and the pandemic propelled massively the interest of our clients in extended reality. Obviously, the breakdown between use cases for the enterprise and use cases for the consumer right now is incredibly more leaning towards the enterprise, because there are use cases like immersive learning or connected worker or XR collaboration that, especially during the pandemic, were extremely interesting for the clients, for enterprise clients. But we are seeing the rise of many companies and brands that are getting more and more interested in experiences for the consumers, in part because they're seeing the power of tools like, for example, Spark and lenses of any kind. Virtual try-ons and virtual stores are becoming more and more interesting. Big brands are doing some amazing stuff. We deployed some stuff with some fashion clients that are pretty groundbreaking. And at the end of the day, we all know where all of this is coming. We had the WWDC literally a week ago, and Apple presented the object capture. That is a framework for photogrammetry, high quality photogrammetry with the iPhone cameras processed on Macs. And they keep buying firms about AR when we all know where this is going, right? So in a near future, there will be something meaningful that will be presented both from Facebook, that announced the partnership with Luxottica, and from Apple, and probably first with a VR headset and then with a augmented reality headset. And many companies right now are exploring the possibilities. I mean, Sony announced the new PSVR 2 headset. We are in the week of E3. I can say that, I mean, people know that this is recording. We are in the week of E3, and Valve will be on stage with Microsoft this Sunday. So who knows what's going to happen. So the possibilities for mass market adoption in the next 2 years are very, very, very high. It's probably going to happen even sooner. And the future looks with miniaturized headsets, that's for sure. We're going to see more and more a trend of offloading the work from the device computation to the cloud computation. We are working very closely with some technological partners, especially with NVIDIA, to provide to our clients extended reality cloud services. It's very exciting for us to explore this space, because we all know that 5G is the future of extended reality, being able to transport high quality video through low latency bandwidth on 5G networks, and being able to provide virtual reality and augmented reality without any need of very fast computational power on the headsets. This is the future of XR. This is going to create miniaturization of the devices. Is going to also provide a lower price point for the device. So this is going to create also a democratization of the devices that will be a lower cost, will be more accessible. There will be services that will be provided. And this is going to be a big opportunity also for networking companies. Imagine Vodafone, Verizon, AT&T, you name it. So it's a bright future, and is a uncharted territory for most of us, and we're literally scratching the surface right now with the use cases that we're exploring.
You mentioned some of the biggest companies are vested in AR, VR, MR because they understand the potential of it. It just could be that maybe in this decade itself, a phone and a personal computer could converge into one single wearable device. I mean, you said 2 years time for mass adoption. It looks a little exciting. I mean, if it happens, I'm obviously like delighted. So, but yeah, I mean, coming from your mouth that it's going to be 2 years mass adoption, let's just wait and see. But I'm extremely excited for it. I believe that definitely within this decade, of phones and or computers, once it converges to one single wearable device, and we have a use case which is so compelling that it compels us to have a headwear, something like this, on the entire day will be the moment of transformation, the true transformation where everybody moves onto that. Now, who comes up with that compelling content or narrative that we should have, or everyone should have a headwear, the entire day is the, I think, will be the story which will create the next transition of our technology from a mobile and computers to one single wearable device. You mentioned about big companies, but I believe that besides these big companies, there are these developers, countless developers around the world, and startups who are also playing a humongous role in nudging the adoption and awareness about these technologies. And I guess though we should mention about them because they are the ones who are the silent players who, without any backing, are continuously working and driving the ecosystem forward by either creating awareness, raising awareness about this, or building, constantly iterating and exploring and with this technology. So you are currently the XR lead at Accenture, and also the immersive learning lead at Accenture, plus the AI XR
lead for Europe. I'm the XR lead for Europe, and XR, global extended reality lead for immersive learning. Yes,
exactly. Besides that, you're also the director at AI XR and BIMA. So, could you talk about your role in all these three companies? What does your daily work entail you to do, and what is the vision of all these three companies for the future of XR?
The future for Accenture, for the extended reality by Accenture, is a future of continuous innovation. Accenture has a track record of agile transformation, and we tend to push ourselves to the limit in everything that we deploy. Accenture is well known for creating innovative solutions for the clients and for providing transformation at scale. Soon we will have very big announcement that probably will shake the industry, and it's something that is happening, and I'm extremely excited about. Unfortunately, I cannot speak about it yet, but there have been some hints around the internet, so probably the people that are more pay more attention to the things that are happening in the Accenture world probably will have some hints about it. But yeah, it's going to be announced in the next few weeks. So you stay tuned because you're going to see some big things from Accenture. So we will keep providing amazing innovation to our clients. We will provide solutions also for consumers because our XR for consumers offering is growing and is growing organically. And I believe that right now, probably we have one of the most compelling offering end-to-end for the digital transformation in XR that goes from connected worker to immersive learning, XR collaboration, virtual products, design and insights, after down to virtual reality used for marketing and sales, but also for post-sale support. And all of this creates a sort of a digital asset pipeline that we provide to our client in order to use extended reality across all the different points of the value chain. So this is the vision of extended reality for Accenture at the moment. So being able to use the same kind of digital twin and digital assets across all the different points of the value chain, optimize this process, reduce the duplication of cost and effort, because if you think about it, before the kind of services that were provided in the field of extended reality were provided by small boutique agencies that were providing really great work, but completely self-contained, sometimes not even connected to system of record, and sometimes not even connected to a single sign-on or to enterprise system or to LMS system. And every time was a a different kind of build, and every time was a different kind of interface, and every time was a different kind of vendor that had needed to be added to the procurement list. So the problem with that is that you incur in a massive duplication of cost and effort. You don't have a single point of view and a single vision of how this transformative media can change the enterprise and the consumer market end to end. And with Accenture, we try to deliver this kind of vision to all of our clients all the time, because it's going to be very soon when everyone will need to have an extended reality strategy. As 15 years ago, everybody found themselves in the middle of a transformation phase where mobile arrived, and they needed to have a mobile strategy. In the very next 2 years, everybody will need to have an XR strategy, because this is going to be the future. And Accenture will be there and is there already right now to get our clients ready to get this transformation done. From a BIMA perspective, a British Interactive Media Association is an association that was born about 20 years ago now, I think, to provide services to the British agencies, the digital agencies in the UK, of how to adopt and embrace change and innovation. So we are providing best practices about emerging technologies and emerging trends on the market. We're creating a white paper, we are providing research, we are doing events, seminars, and webinars. And every agency in the UK, every digital agency, a company in the UK can be part of BIMA. And it's a non-profit company, it's a non-profit business, and I am leading the Extended Reality Council. So I am part of a pool of very talented people, and that I am simply coordinating with some meeting invites on my calendar, but they're doing the hard work, because I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by very, very smart people, and probably sometimes this makes me glow of reflected light, but I mean the hard work is done mostly by them, because we're also talking about very innovative little agencies that are doing some amazing work in the UK, and especially during the pandemic, being able to survive in an emerging technology, keep doing some amazing work is truly remarkable. So I'm very lucky and blessed to be working with these people. For AIXR, the situation is slightly different. AIXR is another nonprofit business, and I've been lucky enough to join pretty early on their stage. It's led by a guy called Daniel Kolayani. And Daniel is an incredibly smart and young entrepreneur. He started the VR Awards when he was only 18, and now we are on the 7th edition. AIXR is born with a vision of democratizing access to best practices and information and access to SMEs for everyone in the extended reality business. The fee for the association is free for all the companies that are revenues under $1 million. So if you're a small startup and you would like to access AIXR resources, seminar and webinars and all the different sources of knowledge that are available on the website, it's possible to do it for free without any fee. If for companies that is above 1 million, obviously the fee is there, but is not that high. And the great thing is that apart from creating the annual VR Awards that's now become a staple in the immersive industry, with some big names being awarded and being on stage, like John Carmack, for example, or last year we had Mrs. Chair Wong from HTC, that is the HTC chairman, awarded for the Lifetime Achievement Award, sponsored by Accenture, by the way. We had some big names, but the great thing is that we're creating a pool of experts that have councils in all the different subtopics of extended reality. So we are talking about storytelling, we are talking about volumetric capture, we are talking about immersive learning, we are talking about AR for consumers. So in each of those councils, there are some experts that can provide insights and reports about the best practices of the industry. And we are talking about people like Vicky Dobbex, that is leading Industrial Light and Magic X Lab, for example, for virtual storytelling. Or we are talking about Ryan Nadell, that is the product manager for Microsoft Guides when it comes to connected worker and AR4 industry. So we have some worldwide renowned SMEs that are working for us to lift the boats for everybody. So it's a great honor to be part of the AIXR, and I'm super excited about what the future of XR will be, and about being part of building this future for everybody.
Lovely, super, wow, awesome. Yeah, you got your hands everywhere. And I think we need more people like you. If we have more people like you, the acceleration of this technology will be much, much faster. I am doing my bit over here in India to drive the adoption of this technology, because I personally believe, like I said, that I think in another couple of decades, we will be able to reimagine reality. And that's what really, really excites me. Now, you mentioned that you, Accenture, is leading the digital transformation. You believe that in the next 2 years, almost every enterprise will need to have an XR strategy if they want to survive and thrive going forward. So would you like to talk a little bit more about that, and so that the enterprises, at least the companies are sitting in India, understand the importance of it? What would be your pitch? What would you tell them, and how would an enterprise benefit with XR?
Let's take the classic case study of automotive. Okay, the way that automotive companies right now are doing their design is mainly on table with the pencil, and they're doing the prototyping phase, literally drawing on a piece of paper and a pencil the prototypes of the car. Sometimes they do it on an iPad, but is mainly a 2D kind of representation. Then it comes to some design reviews, and the design reviews are done looking at those 2D prototypes on a wall or on a screen, but they're 2D prototypes, right? And then once the review is done, you move to the actual design phase. So after the concept phase, you move to the design phase. And the design phase involves CAD/CAM system. We're talking about VRED, we're talking about CATIA, we are talking about those highly specialized CAD/CAM system for industrial design. And after that, in order to get some consumer insights and some executive insights and feedback and review, usually the companies are 3D printing those 3D models, and people can walk around those 3D models. And then after that, obviously, there's another repurposing of the model to get those models into a state that will allow robots in the factories to build the components and everything else. But in between, obviously, you need to train your employees on how to build a car. And you also need to understand how the setup of the factory has to be made in the most effective way. And this is done completely disjointly. After the car is ready and can be shipped to the car dealership, there's another phase where the model has to be rebuilt for car configurators. So those car configurators that look like a video game that you find in the car dealership, or you can find online, where you can change the color of the car and so on, sometimes are not coming directly from the CAD models. They're completely disjointed. So they're rebuilt from scratch, and sometimes they're not exactly a one-to-one representation of the final car. And this is one step. And after this, you also have all those steps related to marketing images that are created with the actual car sometimes, and are shot with the actual car. So you need to get the car, you need to get a troupe, you need to do all those shots in a very expensive way, because you have to bring people on location with the car. And obviously then after that you sell the car and you have the manuals, but you have printed manuals. And every time that a user doesn't understand how to use something in the car because the manual is printed, what they do, they call the call center and the helpline. And this is another cost for the car manufacturer. And sometimes if they cannot fix the car, they have to take the car for servicing. And the person at the servicing maybe had never used that car, so they don't know how to fix that car properly. So extended reality can help all across the different parts of the value chain, okay? So let's say that instead of doing drawings on a 2D piece of paper, you can do drawings in a 3D fashion, exactly like the stuff that you do with Tilt Brush right now with virtual reality. It's possible to do hand-free drawings in virtual reality. And once you do those hand-free drawings, it's possible to expand them to make them as big as a normal car. So you can start sitting inside the car that you just hand-drawn and have an initial feeling of how that car feels and start doing some more in-depth reviews. Those in-depth reviews can be done also collaboratively with other people. So you can draw the car in with multiple people around you, test the car with multiple people around you. And once the car is ready, that same kind of drawing can be exported into a CAD/CAM system. And the same kind of line that has been used for a hand draw can be used to draw splines that are the basic component for CAD/CAM systems, like, for example, VRED, in order to design and create the actual 3D model that is used for industrial design. And when the 3D model for industrial design is ready, that model eventually can be exported to create some digital twin first of the car that can be used for virtual reality training for employees that have to build a car. And second, it's possible to create a digital twin of the factory to understand how that car that you just built can be built in the most effective way with different configuration of the car factory. There's a very beautiful video that has been shown during the GTC 2021 from NVIDIA and BMW that were showing how BMW is using Omniverse to calculate the best configuration for their factories and how to build the best car. So that's now a reality, right? So you can create a digital twin of the factory to understand how to build that car the best way possible, in the fastest way possible, in the cheapest way possible. And after you created that digital twin, the same kind of model can be exported, decimated and exported into a more real-time 3D fashion and environment in order to create car configurators that are one-to-one perfect representation of the digital model. So there's no redoing, there's no recreating, there's no duplication of cost and effort in all of this, if done in an automated way or semi-automated way, in an optimized way. And once you have this model for the car configurator, then at the same time, you can use the high polygon count model in order to create marketing renderings. It's possible to create virtual shots of the car in any kind of condition with any kind of background, exactly like the Mandalorian right now is using virtual sets and Unreal to shoot the movie, or exactly like IKEA is not doing any photo shooting anymore for their furniture. Everything is rendered. You can do exactly the same kind of thing for cars. So you don't need to bring the actual physical car on location to do the shootings and the videos. You can do everything pre-rendered or rendered in a factory. And after this, you can create manuals that recognize automatically the dashboard and the car components on a mobile phone using augmented reality, and they can overimpose information for the final user on how to use the car in the best way possible. You know, it's very easy. You put your phone in front of the dashboard and you have instruction on how to use different parts of the car. And last but not least, whenever the car needs to be serviced, you can bring the car to the car dealership, and the engineer at the car dealership will know exactly what to do with your car, because using augmented reality glasses will know thanks to the digital twin of the car that is injected into the augmented reality systems, which are all the parts and how to maintain the part. So it's going to be a sort of a just-in-time training done with augmented reality. And all of this is only possible in a cost-effective way if there is an effective digital asset pipeline strategy. And this is what we are trying to achieve with our clients.
Right, right. So you mentioned, just one industry, the automotive industry, the transformation which is waiting to happen. The entire digital value chain, the traditional digital value chains, the way they've been functioning so far, is about to be disrupted with this technology. And if the ones who don't understand the importance will sadly be replaced by automation or by startups or these companies who understand the importance of this technology, that what's happening. Obviously, there's these pros which is loaded that, the entire parts of the value chain, right from design to production to distribution, it is being changed because of automation. That's very good. But the sad part is that, yes, we have to make sure that there's going to be millions who are going to be disrupted. There needs to have a concrete conversation where we talk about the people that's going to be displaced. How do we kind of reskill or upskill them and find a value for them? Because there will be, and this is not just one industry. You just gave an example. XR and the convergence of AI, 5G, IoT, blockchain, and others, when we be getting into the spatial web where everything is going to be digitized, it's going to be the cause of huge disruption. So I hope that we have more conversations where we not just talk about reskill, upskill, but we really handhold the people who are disrupted and show them the path forward, that to sustain and thrive in the future, in a world which is coming really fast, we need to change and relearn continuously. What are the changes that you've seen post-COVID? How do you think education of the future is going to look like? Is it going to be augmented reality? Is it going to be virtual reality? Is it going to be mixed reality? What is going to be the future of education?
My view on this is probably very optimistic, but I believe that humans have a key role in the future of automation as the main data source for what is going to become the robotic revolution. And let me explain why. Whenever you wear a headset and you have a controller in your hand, and eventually you have tracking points on top of your body, you generate data. And those data can be used to feed machine learning algorithm and deep learning algorithm. There is still a lot of knowledge that we need to gain in order to create autonomous robots and systems that can build other systems. And virtual reality can be a natural way to train robotic machines. Imagine a robotic arm. A robotic arm is composed of a mathematical system that provides the best trajectory from point A to point B to execute a specific action. So if I need to pick up this cup from my table, I need to know the best trajectory possible from my hand to go to the table, grab the cup, and bring it up, okay? Just to do this simple step of opening my hand, go to the cup, grabbing the cup, and pulling up the cup could be hundreds of vectors that have to be calculated in a mathematical way. But for a human being like me, it's very easy to open my hand, grab the cup, pull up the cup. So instructing the machines using vectors that are created in virtual reality and collected in a digital way, for example, having a digital cup in a virtual reality simulation that simulates the real cup that has to be lifted by the robot, it's a great way to train the machines. So I believe that virtual reality and humans can be reskilled from doing the physical work to teach the machine how to do the physical work that they were doing before. And this is a given. Okay, so blue collars will become the immersive robotics programmers of the future. And in terms of upskilling and reskilling, the future of learning and training is going to be more broad than a lot of people think. I think that the next big wave of disruption after media and banking is going to happen in education. Universities as we know it probably are going to cease of existing in the next 15 to 20 years. And there will be a wave of services for training and education a la carte, exactly like Netflix, that will provide a curricula that can be specialized or despecialized based on the needs and the will and the passion of the users. Also, companies will be able to provide very quickly trainings for all the new employees that will enable them to be as productive as an experienced employee way faster than what is happening right now. For every company, the kind of average cost for training, let's say for a telco company, for a new recruit is around £40,000 for the first year. So there's a lot of training that a telco company has to do with their engineers for the first year. And the engineer, even once trained, is not fully effective, 100% productive, if not after 1 year, 1.5 years after they've been hired. To close that gap and to reduce the cost, it's possible to use virtual reality trainings as an alternative. Because first, it's easier to distribute. You literally push a button and your training has been distributed to virtual reality headsets like the Oculus Quest or like self-contained devices like the one that I have behind me over there. Second, you don't need any real estate. So you don't have to bring your employees to a training facility to do the training. It's a massive cost reduction. You don't have to pay your trainers anymore to be always there. You can pay the trainers to create the modules, but you don't have to pay the trainers to train other people. Third, you don't have to create assets to train other people. So you distribution, cost for real estate and trainers, and cost of assets for the training are completely eliminated. There's been an industrial client that came to us with a big problem. They are a clean energy company, and they create windmills for clean energy. And they came to us with this problem statement saying, we have new turbines that are created every 2 years. And in order to train our 1,500 engineers, we create dummy turbines that replicates one-to-one the real-life turbines. And each of those dummy turbines cost around $1.5 million to be produced. And we are able to train 4 people per day. So in order to train our 1,500 engineers on time, in order to service those turbines for when they're going to be in production and so on, we have to build more of those turbines, and obviously we cannot scale. So they decided that from next year forward, they're not going to produce the dummy turbines anymore. They're going to do all digital training and all digital assets, because they can just push a button, train all those 1,500 engineers all at the same time, get insights and analytics about their performance for the training, and save a huge amount of money. And at the same time, the huge amount of money they save for the training is also boosted from the productivity and uptime that those engineers will be able to provide to those turbines. Because the sooner the engineers will be proficient in providing service to those turbines, the more those turbines will be working and provide uptime energy, which is a big plus for them. So the advantages of using virtual reality for training and learning are immense for many sectors.
Yeah, I think training is going to be such a huge use case for virtual reality. I mean, people are just trying to figure out how it can help. And I think that startups should spend their energy in understanding, which industry works more, because I think that's a huge opportunity which is just waiting to be discovered. Now, you mentioned at the beginning of the conversation that you have been working remotely almost for around 7 years with IBM, Google, etc. I mean, because of COVID, I think we have been thrusted into the world where everybody had to adopt to a virtual platform. Be it the flat medium for education, healthcare, or whatsoever. So, but it's been over a year. People are still disrupted. People are still trying to figure out, and there is a huge digital divide also, because there are people who have the basic tools for digital communication, and there are still people who do not have like basic laptops and stuff like that. What have been your insights of working remotely for over 7 years? Microsoft had just recently mentioned that the entire future of work is going to be completely disrupted and it's going to go remote. What are your views?
I've been the privilege of working for 2 companies in the last 7 years that were allowing employees that were not involved in meetings or on client side to work remotely. So every time I wasn't on client side and on meeting in my office, I found easier for me to work remotely from my home office. Because working, especially with global teams, made me spend more time looking for meeting rooms to run my conf calls, and without disturbing all the other people around. I'm Italian. I'm very noisy when I do my conf calls, so I prefer to be in a close environment rather than doing the actual job. So instead of going from meeting room to meeting room with my laptop, just saying sorry, can I use this meeting room and so on, and booking meeting rooms all day long. I said, okay, I wake up in the morning, I do my coffee, I start working. I'm way more productive. I can work even better with my colleagues in the United States and in China and in Japan, which I'm working very closely with right now. And I have no problem with the commute that in London can be a problem sometimes. So, and I've been way more productive, but at the same time, the problem that you have with those kind of this kind of way of working is that sometimes you get disconnected, disjointed from your local colleagues, which in my case wasn't a big problem because most of my colleagues that I'm working more closely with are abroad. But for people that are working with local teams, this can be a problem. So I would say that remote working for people having a global role, it's a no-brainer. A global role or a European role, it's a no-brainer. For people working more locally on the geographic unit where they are, it can be a problem. Also, there is a problem that is related to the routine. Work can easily creep into your private time and your downtime. So I had to learn how to be totally strict with my working hours. And I find this organization of my day great for my focus.
Yeah, thank you, Nicola, for being part of the podcast. I mean, the future of work is looking very exciting. We no longer need to sit in one place. We no longer need to be confined into an office and there are tools such as virtual reality which will allow us to work from anywhere. Geography becomes history. You don't need to spend in travel time. You could make that work time productive. You don't have to spend logistics for huge offices, and there's so many like really, really good things which are happening. So in the respect of time, I'm going to my last question. I'm going to crunch 2-3 questions into one.
Okay.
Field of podcast. Why? What was the reason you started? What's been the learning? How important is India as a market opportunity for you? and the future of AR, VR, MR? Painted in your words.
Right. So, rapid fire questions. Why we started the podcast? The Field of View is the podcast that we're doing every 2 weeks. You can find it on the AIXR YouTube channel. We started it because it's awesome. We are getting so much insights from industry experts. We are interviewing some amazing people from all parts of extended reality, from all parts of the different parts of the business. We had the CEO of Mojo Vision like two weeks ago. We're going to have Altspace in a week or two. We interviewed Nathi, which is the famous VR gaming YouTuber recently. Tim Furness, that is the godfather of VR, is going to be on the show very soon. We're doing it because it's so inspirational. It's so amazing getting this breadth of knowledge and information from so many sources everywhere. And I am a curious person. I'm a curious by nature, and this keeps me alive. And I'm even surrounded by my passion. As you can see, I have my keyboards and music equipment and VR and Star Wars. And so I need to keep this flame going. And I think that this is the beauty of living this industry. I haven't found yet a person that is doing VR just for money or just for the career, or just they truly believe in this. They're very passionate. And yes, of course they do it for money. And yes, of course they do it for the career. And yes, of course they do it because it's great for the future, and that's where the market is going. But they're doing it because they're believers. And this is such an exciting industry to work on right now that when Daniel Kolayani proposed us to do this podcast together, was such a great opportunity that we couldn't turn it down. I said, yes, of course I want to meet all those amazing people. This is the dream of my life. Let's do it. So this is the reason why we're doing Field of View. So stay tuned, please subscribe and don't miss the episodes. The second question was, sorry?
India as a market opportunity, and what
India as a market opportunity. We are working a lot with India. We have massive delivery centers there. We have a huge delivery center in Bangalore, and we are hiring a lot of people over there. The interesting thing about India is that not only is a great source of fantastic knowledge and scientists and engineers for us, the level of quality and expertise that we're getting from India is absolutely mind-blowing. And we are delivering most of our XR from there. We have about more than 400 people right now that are working exclusively in XR in Accenture. And a good chunk of those 400 are located in India at the moment. Even if we have like delivery centers basically everywhere. South Africa, we have one in Latvia, we have one in Costa Rica, we have many. But yeah, across all the different kind of geographies, India is probably one of the most important ones for us. And obviously there's this massive opportunity for consumer product. Let's not forget that the population of India is immense. And once you reach that market with consumer products, the business opportunity is massive. So at the moment, the market is a big opportunity that is waiting to be to be ripe for all companies like Accenture, but also for brands that want to take advantage of this market. And the future of XR, as I said, is in the cloud. The future of XR is collaborative. The future of XR is based on digital asset pipeline and digital asset pipeline optimization and digital twin. So it's not self-contained, is connected to systems, and is using data in a meaningful way. You mentioned something that is very important and is very close to my heart, Eddie, the fact that there is not yet a proper killer use case for XR for consumers. There will be. The problem is to find the right balance between data protection, privacy, and use cases, because scenarios like Black Mirror can happen. So I hope that the future of XR will also be ethical and diverse and inclusive for everybody.
Right. I think what a profound note to end on. The future needs to be inclusive and diverse for everyone, because this, I think we are stepping into a world where we can get away from the notion of scarcity to the future in abundance. It's no longer gimmick. It's no longer gimmicky when you say this word, but it's no longer cliched, because yes, this is the tool which can really help us break us away from the traditional industries or functionings so far, because we've always been, we placed with blinders in our head, because either the institutions or parents or the community, the society tells you that this is what you do, but we are finally breaking out from the traditional in a nice way, not in a way which is, and I think we can create magic once this technology matures. And I'm really excited for that. And you mentioned that it needs to be collaborative. And only once it's collaborative, I think everybody will be able to reap the benefit of it. So I'm really super excited about it. I think you were saying something.
Thank you. Yes. No, I just wanted to say, Eddie, that building a virtual and augmented reality is building realities at the end of the day. There will be a moment in the very close future where the boundaries between what is real and what is not real, will be blurred. So we will remember digital experiences like real experiences, and digital experiences will augment our real experiences and will become memory of it. So it's extremely important that we'll build those worlds and those memories and those realities in a better way, and a more equal way, and a more inclusive way than what we did with the real world. And we have an obligation, a moral obligation to face those imperatives when we're doing the work that we're doing for everybody.
Lovely. Let those words resonate to my listeners. In that note, if you like what you see in here, please press the subscribe button. Until next time, see you guys. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you, Nicola. Really appreciate this.